So, for the past 7 months since I posted my hospital build, I've been asked not only by you guys, but even my friends as well to build one thing. A school! And by the power vested in me, by my magical hands, you shall receive. Hey everyone, I'm back after like 4 months of not posting. Anyways, today I'm going to be building a school in Bloxburg. This has been a highly requested build on my channel, and I've been procrastinating doing it for the longest time, but I think it's the perfect build for my return back to YouTube after my break. If you've already made it this far into the video, I suggest you subscribe if you want to see more builds like this in the future. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and comment because it really helps me out. Anyways, let's get on to the build. Okay, so I've already mapped out a lot of what the school's gonna look like. I just mainly have the parking lot done and somewhat part of the exterior mapped out. The school is gonna be around 2 to 3 floors. It's gonna be partially indoor, I think, partially outdoor. I don't know. I'm still deciding. This is what I kind of want it to look like, at least the right side. I like the structure of how it looks, and it just looks pretty cool. So we're gonna try to replicate that as best as we can. But at first, we're going to work on the parking lot, because in order for people to get to school, there needs to be a space where they can park. For this concrete over here, I'm gonna have to use a roof because basic shapes can't do curves like that. So I'm gonna do the roof over here too. I've tried to do schools in the past, and it hasn't turned out so well, and I typically just want to quit before it even starts. Actually, let's just work on these parts right here, because I have to figure out what I want this bottom layer to look like also. So how have y'all been over my break? Because I've been actually pretty good. I mean, school is really stressful, so that's the main reason I would say I went on my break. It's always stressful around finals time because you don't know what your end of the year grade's gonna look like. Over here could be the school sign. I'm gonna make that out of basic shapes. So I think this shape for it looks pretty good. I'm gonna copy this over here to see if, oh no, we just gotta use a smaller one. So the school is called West Shores High School. I randomly came up with the name. As most of you know, if you paid attention to my last videos, you would know that almost every single one of my builds, I think every single one of my builds, is some sort of ocean or beach kind of theme to it, because my whole channel theme is the ocean. And so that's why I came up with the name West Shores. Don't know where the dragon mascot came from. I think I just randomly thought of that. I think this is gonna be really nice. But Bloxburg added these new crosswalk markings for the playground update. So I think we can use these here. I feel like the crosswalks look kind of weird. Okay, that looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. They added a bike rack, which is why I put these places here. Which way is the bike rack supposed to go? And then maybe we can put some bikes. Okay, and I did it on this side too. I think now I'm gonna do some landscaping, and then when I'm done with that, we can go and actually work on the school. So I finally finished with the landscaping. That took forever to do. It took me probably 2 hours, which shouldn't, because I'm just placing down trees and bushes. Now we can work on the actual building part of it. Remember, this is not a tutorial of any sort. I'm just building as I go. You can copy it. I don't care. You have the right to try to replicate this build however you want to. So first, I'm going to place some walls down here. Then we're going to add a fence right here because I want this to be a little fenced off a little bit. Oh, I don't know if I showed you, but I made these custom trash cans. Well, it's just a regular trash can, but then I put the mascot logo on it. That looks cool. Okay, and then we're gonna make this white, and we're gonna add some windows. I'm gonna make some custom windows. Cool. And then we're just gonna copy this. I'm just gonna do the commercial double door. Okay, that's what that looks like. And then we're gonna build this second story part of it. I'm gonna get a cube roughly the size of 1 block, but we're gonna make it a little bit smaller. So basically, I'm just gonna voice this over because the whole time I was recording, I was either not talking or when I was talking, just wasn't really making sense. So let me explain to you kind of what I was doing. So I used these basic shapes to create these kind of squares on the front of the building to add like texture and a little bit of personality, so it wasn't just a blank wall. And then after that, I started adding windows all along the like plain exterior, so the walls that were just like kind of flat. And then I added these cool window structures on the front of the build and then on the side, which I think was actually really cool. It made it kind of more modern than just geometric, so like overall it turned into modern geometric, but I think that's basically it. Let me show you the progress of what it's starting to look like. So we have this side, and then we have the front, and then we have this side too. I think it's starting to look really good. I don't know if I want to add something to the top of here because it looks kind of boring if they're all the same level, but we'll figure it out. Okay, I kind of want to take a little break from the exterior building because I want to work on the main entrance-ish. Maybe. So actually, let's just start sectioning things off.
You got to put some swaz on it, Granny.
So it's the next day, and I not only finished the layout, I finished the exterior too. Let me show you guys what it's looking like. Okay, so we have this side over here. We got the front, of course. I decided to add the mascot logo emblem thing, whatever you want to call it, to the front. And then this is what this side looks like. I'm probably going to add some windows down here though. This side's a little boring. Probably will add some windows or something there too. And this is what the back looks like. And then here, yep, that's a it's a full 360. But let me show you my idea for the layout. That's what the layout's looking like for now. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm gonna work on is the stairs, because then I can just copy and paste to every level. Okay, this little part's kind of unnecessary, so I'm just gonna do like a little voiceover on it. So basically, this is just me making the stairs. I made them out of basic shapes, and then I put these like planks on them to add like a metalish kind of texture on top of the wood to add some contrast. And then in my school, we have these like block things that go right next to the stairs where people can like sit and do homework on. So I tried to replicate that, and they're actually functional because I put these ottomans in them that you can actually sit on, which is, I think is pretty cool. But that's basically all there is to the stairs. And then we're gonna copy this whole thing. That's the cool thing about what I did, is I made it copyable. And then we're just gonna place it right here. I think right now I'm gonna work on the front office and then add like this detail part that I'm gonna add up here. Okay, so I have a funny little story to tell you guys. So recently in my PE class, we were playing lacrosse and we were just passing the ball back and forth, you know, like two little lads. And I went to go pick up the ball, pop goes my knee, and like after it happened, I'm like, oh, it doesn't hurt that much. It like feels a little weird, but it, like, you know, it's fine. And then the next day it's like, ooh, this is kind of hurting. And then the third day, which was like 2 Fridays ago, oh my goodness, it was so bad. I finally told my mom to like schedule a doctor's appointment because it was just horrible. And I went to the doctor, and my doctor's like, you're still walking on that? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, no, you need to be on crutches. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yes. I mean, why are you still walking on it? How are you still walking on it? And I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, because I had to. But then I got crutches, tried to walk on it. I'm like, this is stupid. Like, if you don't know, crutches are so difficult to walk on. I was trying to walk on it in the parking lot at my school. But the thing about that is my media class, which is on like the second floor, the windows show directly to the parking lot. So almost everyone, including my media teacher, saw me struggling using those crutches in the parking lot. And I didn't know that at the time, but I gave up and I just walked off. I let my mom take them home and I went to the front office limping. And then when I came up to the classroom, my friend told me that everyone saw me struggle. But currently I have my MRI tomorrow and I'm hoping it goes well. And I really hope nothing is torn or anything, because that would really suck, because I most likely wouldn't be able to play flag football for my next season coming up in August. But crossing my fingers that everything's okay. But yeah, that's just my little story time. So the gym is called the dungeon, and then the lunchroom is called the torch. Because the like school is like, their mascot's a dragon, the dungeon, you know, battleground, whatever, the torch, I don't know. Actually, the torch doesn't even make sense. Well, if you're like cooking this stuff and like torches were used in medieval times. Get it? Get it? You understand what I'm trying to say? No! This world looks so boring. Maybe we can do like a trophy case in this kind of style. Wait, that's so cool. I think next I want to work on the gym. Okay, so we need a floor, obviously. Now I want to add padding on the walls because the concrete seeps through the wall, and also gyms typically just have that padding. Maybe I can just do that. Okay, I'm just gonna place them all down like here. But let's copy. Should we have it that color, or should we have it the gold? I think maybe the gold, because we can always change it though. I don't know if I like that. Maybe I could do it green, like the green out here. Because I think I'm going to make green another color. I think I'm only going to do it around here. We can just have it like that. And then now maybe we can do these blue again. Okay, that looks better. Now we can grab this logo, but like make it smaller like that. And now it's here. Wait, that looks cool. Okay, I'm just going to do it on this side too. There we go. Wait, that's so cool. Okay, so that's what's looking like. I'm gonna copy these things on this side too. So I forgot to record the process of me making these ceiling tiles. They're actually really cool. I basically just put like a flat basic shape, and then I just stacked these like thinner basic shapes on top of each other, and then I just flipped it upside down and put it on the ceiling, and then I just put lights around it to lighten up the gym. But it actually turned out really good, and then I just kind of finished the rest of the gym because I didn't feel like talking during that whole decoration process, and I knew I was probably just gonna do a voiceover and post edit anyway. Okay, so this is what the final product of the gym is starting to look like. I think it actually looks really cool. Don't mind like how dark it is. It's gonna get a lot lighter once we put lights out in like the hallways and stuff. But I think now we should work on the auditorium, because that's gonna take a lot of time to do. Okay, so Bloxburg added these theater seats, which is gonna actually come really in handy with what we're gonna be doing. So everyone's gonna be facing this way. So I put this line here to like mark where the stage is gonna be. This look-y kind of seems really big though. But I'm gonna do like a lot of basic shapes. So I think the stairs should start here, because our first full row can probably be right here. Let me get the other theater seat, and then we can just copy all of these like this. And I want to add some lighting to the stairs like that, and we can just copy these now. Scratch that actually. Maybe between each of these steps there should be like another one where where like another row of seats could be. But then we need to make this like have an equivalent row. Maybe what I can do is I can make this like super duper long.
That's what she said.
I don't know what I'm doing here, so I'm gonna figure this out and then I'll be right back for the decoration. Okay, so this is what I've kind of come up with. So now we just have to like copy these over. So recently I've kind of been addicted to playing this one game on my phone. I think it's called like Beat Star or something like that. But I've been playing it all the time now, and I don't know why, but it's like a mix of like piano tiles and Beat Saber. I don't know why, but I can't stop playing it, and it started to become, it's like, I feel like it's like almost like an addiction now. It's really bad. The one level I can't beat is Anaconda by Nicki Minaj. For some reason, the game does not want me to beat that song. I can beat literally everything else but that. Okay, so I'm just gonna basically just repeat this process, and then I'll be back to show you what it's looking like when it's done. Okay, so this is what I came up with. I think it actually looks pretty cool. Don't mind the black ceiling. I was experimenting. I think right now I want to add some wall detailing because I think that would look pretty cool. It just kind of sucks that like it's not super duper tall. Let's see, because I was planning on using the grand curtains. Oh my gosh, I think we need to make the ceiling taller. No, that's gonna take forever. I'm actually gonna cry. I think we're gonna have to do that. But I could just use oh my gosh. The only way they'd fit is if we use the small ones. I think we're gonna have to make it taller. Oh my gosh, I'm actually gonna crash out. Okay, I'll be back after I fix it.
Who do they think they are? I've given the best years of my life to this place and they think they can just fire me like that? Like trash? I don't think so.
SpongeBob?
Okay, so I redid the exterior. It kind of looks like a Minecraft helmet. But anyways, I worked on the inside. I made it a little better, and then because I was able to make it taller, I was able to add more rows. So this is what that's looking like. I'm gonna work on some of the wall detailing and then the stage. Are you guys ready to see what the finished product of the auditorium looks like? This looks so good! Oh my gosh. Like the ceiling, I think puts a cherry on top because like just look at it. It's so perfect. I think the next room I want to work on is I'm gonna call it the media production or graphic design center, but it's just basically kind of the computer lab. I'm personally in a media class myself, so I kind of know already what this looks like. It's just basically a whole bunch of tables. I want the tables to look like this, just like longer, if that makes sense. Okay, that's what that looks like now. I want to add some details. I just basically want like a cord hole, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's what that's looking like. And now we can add the structurals to make the cords. That's what that's looking like. I think that looks pretty cool. But now, because these are just probably going to be like the media desks. There we go. For here, we're gonna have the graphic design desks. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time saying that. And so for that, we're gonna make these tiny little like drawing pad things. There we go. We got our little drawing pads. Look how cool that looks. And then we just have to do the same thing with the cords again. So that's what the media classroom's looking like. That looks pretty cool. Should I figure out the floor situation? I'll figure it out later. Okay, so now I think I'm gonna work on the locker rooms. The lockers are actually really small, but I definitely want to make them taller like that. But there's like a gap between here, like that. Wait, that looks kind of cool. Wait, I like that. Okay, so I added some windows and lighting, and this is what the girls' locker room is like looking like. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm probably just gonna add some like towels, clothes or something in here, but I think that's what it's gonna look like. So now I'm just gonna do the boys' locker room, and then we can work on probably another classroom or something. Okay, so I'm gonna build the cafeteria, actually. I also got a little bit more money because I think I might end up using all of this. I hope not. I want to still have some left over so I'm not completely broke by the end of this. But for the cafeteria, it's gonna be a little interesting, but I think definitely over here should be like the food station. Either over here or over here. I think what I want to do is work on the tables. I don't know if I want to use these or this. Oh, I hate those actually. Should I just use these pre-made ones? I feel like that's cheating. Or should I do like tables with like chairs? Maybe let's put these outside actually, because this is the reason I built this whole thing out here, was so I can have some tables. That's not that bad. It's kind of empty over here, but it's fine because some people are gonna spend time over here, but probably not. I think I want to work on the like serving. Is it called a serving station? I think that's what it's called. But we're gonna pretty much just make it entirely out of basic shapes. That looks cool. I feel like I want to add a design to this back wall, but we can figure that out later. And I have so many of these, but I feel like there needs, do I need to buy another one of these? I think maybe I should just buy a credit card reader. We have those at my school. I mean, we just put in our pin codes. I think we should just do that instead. Because then we can just put in a computer. And then I'm going to put one on this side too. That looks cool. Okay. Definitely need some type of glass though. Okay, that doesn't look half bad. And now the tables. Okay, I just have to put all these chairs to all these tables. Okay, so, I didn't just put a couple chairs down. I finished the entire cafeteria and I changed around the layout a little bit. I think it actually looks so good. So I ended up turning this into a little seating bar where people could sit and eat. Then I changed the tables here, finished the serving station. I still need to put the food here and everything, but over here, that looks the same, but I added these pillars and these banners. I don't even know what they're called. And then I added these posters. This one says eat your lunch, free lunch every day, because in the state that I live in, lunch is free. And then Taco Tuesday, and then the torch, new acai bowls, sustainable, 100% organic, nutritious. I think this looks so good. I also added these floor stripes. I think they actually look pretty cool too. Oh, and then I also added the same ceiling tiles that are in the gym to the cafeteria, and I added the lights and everything. But I think this looks so good. I'm so happy with how it's looking like. And I just checked, we're only at 58% plot data, so I'm so glad because we still have almost the entirety of the not the entirety, but we still have the library, 2 classrooms, the bathrooms. But I think right now I want to work on the main entrance because it's looking a little boring, a little basic. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. Okay, so the floor, I think I want to put a circular design right here. I don't know what I'm doing here. That is not a circle. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh. My eyes are watering so bad. So this is what the floor is looking like. I just opted for this. I might change this color to be a little darker. I don't know, I'm not sure. But I also added this same print to the second and third floor just to add some symmetry. Is it symmetry? Yeah, symmetry to both floors. But I still have to decide if I want this big circle here. I gave up working on the center thing here. I'm just gonna start working on the front desk area. I'm gonna forget about this part here, and I'm gonna add some seating over here. I feel like there's just so much white. It feels sterile. Can this wall be just green? Oh, that would make a statement. Oh my goodness. That's one green wall. Okay, so this is what it's looking like so far. It's still a little dark because I need to add some lights up here and then on the rest of the floors, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm gonna make some more posters to put here. So if you need to see acai bowl posters everywhere, don't mind that. Don't mind that either. I'm gonna put the decals in and then I'll be back. Okay, so I basically finished all the ceilings. It kind of looks a little crazy, but it is a lot. But I essentially just put lights in these little ceiling tile things, and I put them throughout every floor. And then I felt it was weird that it was just the tiles and nothing else. So I put these wooden beam thingamabobbers just to add some contrast to the coloring, and I added that to every floor. So that's why it looks kind of crazy out here. Oh, I also put this decal up, which looks really cool. But this is what the entrance is basically looking like. I think it looks really cool. Oh my goodness. I think this took me, holy cow, 5-6 hours just to do the ceilings and plan it out and everything. But I think it actually kind of looks pretty cool. My eyes hurt so bad. It's 9:20 p.m. I've been working since 10 in the morning. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. And hopefully by then I'll have a little bit more money because my OCD will not let me have a number under $1 million. So I'm going to work a little bit tomorrow to get a little more money so we can probably finish this build without having to work again. And then I'll finish the classrooms hopefully, and then I'll be done. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. So now we're on to the home stretch of the build. I started by finishing building the principal and vice principal's offices and the seating area in the hallway. Then I wanted to add more spaces for students to work in besides the classroom or stairs, so I made these custom tables. I decided to do custom ones since I wanted a table that was tall enough to use stools with instead of regular chairs. I have common spaces similar to these at my school, so I tried to emulate that in this part of the build. I added some additional chairs to the floor, and then I finished both hallways. Then I decided that the white walls were becoming a little too much, so I decided to make the hallway walls of the classrooms be windows instead. I think it made the school feel more modern too, which fits the style I was going for. Then I finally made the decision to work on the bathrooms to get them over with, since they are the least exciting part of the build. I tried to replicate the bathroom styles I did for my hospital build, so I added these beams to the wall to act as colorful tiles. A build hack I learned a while ago is that if you use the cheapest sink and recolor it, it looks like an actual public bathroom sink. Well, at least in the US. I think the trickiest thing about this was trying to replicate every bathroom on every floor and just basically duplicating it over and over again, because the bathroom locations of at least one of them was kind of different than the others, so I had to kind of manage around that. But the good thing about it was the fact that I made the walls out of basic shapes that had the tiles on them, so they were a lot easier to duplicate than if I would have to put them on every single wall. So here's where the real fun begins. This is when I started to work on the classrooms. I started off with the band room since I already had somewhat of an idea of what I wanted to work on in this room. I made these sheet music stands for the students to read their music off of because I saw a lot of inspo pics that had these as the main focal point, so I just decided to do that too. But fun fact about me, when I was in elementary school, I think I was like in 4th grade. In our music class, we had this thing called recorder karate, and every song you were able to complete successfully on the recorder without any errors, you got a new belt on your recorder and you got to practice a new song. Well, me and my hot pink recorder were so good that I was the #1 recorder player in my entire school. I managed to surpass black belt, and then I moved on to the secondary level, but it was near the end of the school year though, and my music teacher didn't continue the program the following year, so I wasn't able to continue as a recorder prodigy anymore. But after the band room was finished, I worked on the library. The library was pretty basic, just a whole bunch of bookshelves and copying and pasting. I did add these reading nooks that had bookshelves surrounding them, which I think is pretty cool, but that's all there really was to the library, so I started working on the first official classroom. I decided to make this the English classroom. For this room, I made these custom desks. They look pretty cool, so I used these for almost every classroom after that. The English room again was pretty basic, just a whole bunch of desks, but I did redo the whiteboard in the media room and then decided that it looked pretty cool, so I used that for all the other classrooms too. I think one of the coolest classrooms I made was a science room, because I made these custom desks which look like the actual ones used in chem and biology classes. I also tried to follow Fulty's tutorial on the microscopes. I obviously didn't replicate them exactly, but I think it looks pretty good. I also worked on the math and social studies classrooms, which were very similar to the English classroom, so there wasn't much to cover on those. But I also added some custom decals in for every classroom to match the color scheme of the school. And the final classroom I did was the Spanish class. This one is kind of fun because of the pop of color I added with the banners. I have these banners in my Spanish class at my school, so I thought it would add a touch of realism to the build. But once that classroom was finished, I added some finishing touches, and then after over 80 hours of building, $2.6 million, 94% plot data, the school is finally finished. Holy cow, this build took forever to do. This took longer than my hospital build. It took over probably 3.5 weeks to do, nearly a month, and probably my most expensive build that I've ever done to date. This is West Shores High School. Okay, so let's start with a tour of the build. So when you come to the inside, you're greeted by this beautiful entryway. This is like kind of crazy. Like there's a lot of detail that went into this build. Over here is the front desk. There's probably 3 people working at the front desk. This is where you check in, check out everything. Here's a big logo up the wall because I wanted like a centerpiece to the main office besides these balconies, and I was just like, oh, that's a cool thing to do. And then to add some extra light to not make this wall boring, I added these little viewing things. And then over here is the main office. We have seating, and then this is the vice principal's office, and then the principal's office. Here's some additional seating. Up here we have a beautiful skylight to add some natural light to the build. Then we have some more seating over here. If you go this way, we have even more seating over here. And then we have these posters which are right next to the cafeteria, which is called the Torch. In here is a amazing cafeteria. We have details on the floor. We have colorful chairs, posters, tables, trays. Over here is the line to get your food. We have a custom menu over here that has entrees, sides. I'm not filling these because I'm way too lazy to do that. Over here is where you'd be getting your drinks though. Over here we have some lockers, and one of the cool things about these hallways is the ceiling. These are actually lights. I don't know if I went over it, but yeah, I put some lights on the inside of these to add so it's not as harsh lighting and it's easier to light up the hallways. And then of course there's regular lights, but they're supported by these wooden, I wouldn't say beams, but whatever you want to call these. Over here we have our gym, but you can view into the gym with this little window. Over here is the trophy case, which holds all these trophies that I've gotten over time, but you know, it's just for the aesthetics. Then over here is the entrance to the main gym, which is called the dungeon. When you enter here, you're greeted by a beautiful gym and then this floor, which has the logo on there and everything. Here's the other side of the viewing window. It's kind of dark in here because I didn't want to add too much light because it kind of messed up the lighting on the second floor, so that's why it's a little dark in here. But you have some gym equipment over here. Here's like the padding on the wall that almost literally every high school has. Here's the crest. Over here we have some mats and some balls. Then over here are the bleachers with the logo up here. These are some additional bleachers that are on the sidelines. Up here are these cool little details for the ceiling, because the ceiling would look weird if it's just all empty. So these also have lights within them. And then we have our scoreboard over here. And if you go through this hallway, you have the boys locker room, which is, I think is pretty cool. You have some windows up here for natural light. And then over here is the girls locker room, which is just the opposite color. When you go down this hallway, there's a bunch of lockers, and then the bathrooms on this floor. There's the boys bathroom and then the girls bathroom. Yeah, that's essentially all of the first floor. And then you have the elevators over here. But one really nice feature of this build are the stairs. These stairs are custom, of course. They have these little blocked seatings where you can actually sit on them. I have these little ottomans underneath so you can actually sit on them. But then you have like an addition to this wall going up this side. You have the crest up here, some railing, and then you're greeted by the first classroom, social studies. Over here is the social studies classroom. These desks are custom, the chairs are not, but I have custom posters that I've put in for every single classroom. Then you have the whiteboard, and then of course the teacher's desk. You're also greeted by some seating up here and the same lights up here too. But then we're greeted by our second classroom, math. In here we have some algebra, I think that's algebra, geometry going on the board, and then the teacher's desk, and then we have some posters again that I made myself, and then the desks with some rulers. It's kind of lazy, but you know, there's not really much to put on desks in the math classroom, so But if you head this way, it's our third classroom, Spanish. This one's a lot more colorful than the rest of them, but we have these, are they called garlands? I don't know what they're called. I have these in my Spanish classroom, and I just think it adds some festivity to the room. Then we have some more custom posters back here that are all in Spanish. And then we have the board as well that's in Spanish, and then the teacher's desk. And then when you make your way over here, we have our second bathrooms. Here's some seating up here, because if students can collaborate out here, there's a collaborative space that they can use. And then when you go over here, here's the second floor of the elevators, some more lockers, and then a big sign that says West Shores High School. And then the band room. Over here are some instruments, piano, drums, guitars, and then up here is where the conductor conducts the music. And then another staircase to lead you to the final floor of the build. On this floor, if you turn this corner, you have more elevators, but then you're greeted by two choices of two classrooms or just rooms in general that you want to go in. Over here is the media production and graphic design room. I personally take media myself, so I knew exactly how to make this. I do not take graphic design, but I know from the graphic design classes at my school that they have these little tablets that they can draw on, and they're connected there to the computers. I just basically wanted to make a more realistic computer lab. Here's the computers. They have cords running back to here, which kind of shows like detail and realism, I guess. On the board, they have the agenda, working together, and then the week's agenda. I also made sure to add these details with markers to show like, hey, like oh my gosh, why am I in the ceiling? Hey, like they actually go hand in hand. It's just, it's the small details that count. And through this door is the main theater and auditorium. I kind of already showed you what this looked like. It just has all these seats up here. The ceiling's really pretty. The lights shine perfectly on the stage. There's some lights down here too, and on the steps. And back here we have some prop stuff. It's over here too, and then back down here is the backstage. I haven't decorated it, probably will never decorate it because you can't really see it, so like what's the point anyway. I also added these sound panel things on the side. That's pretty much it for the auditorium slash theater. Then when you make your way over here, it's more seating, more collaborative spaces, and then you have some lockers over here, and then the girls and boys bathroom again. We got some more posters, and then you're greeted by the science classroom. So I take inspiration from my classroom, like my physics class that I am taking currently at my school, and I made these desks, and they each have notebooks on the tables, but I made a microscope from Fulty's tutorial. It's not copied exactly, but thanks Fulty for the inspiration for this. But I put them on every table, and then I also made some custom posters. These are Newton's 3 laws. An object in motion stays in motion. Every action has an equal or opposite reaction, and then force equals mass times acceleration. And then over here, we're brought to our final classroom, the English classroom. The desks are connected together because that's how my English class was. It just helps with being more collaborative and talkative to each other, hopefully. On the agenda, learning figures of speech. There's not much on this board because I didn't really know what to put on a English whiteboard. But then over here, we have some posters that I also custom made. And then over here, we have I think it's our final room, which is the library. This library is it's very copy and pasted, but you get the gist of it. You got some seating, you have these really cute nooks for reading, and then you have some actual tables if you want to study with your friends. A viewing thing that I also used as a table. This is also in the cafeteria for eating lunch. It's a similar kind of thing. But that is the final tour of the build. This took absolutely forever, so I'd really appreciate it if you could show some love by liking the video, commenting what's your favorite thing, maybe what you want me to build next, and hopefully I'll see that and get to it. But other than that, thank you all for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Okay, bye.